Have you ever watched Snow White and wondered what the evil queen would look like if the movie was set in the 19 teens? Hello and welcome. I'm Maria from So Through Time, and this week, guess what? We're making the evil queen's outfit from the 19 teens. When I started doing research into the 19 teens era, the thing that really struck me about the time period is those really gorgeous high collars that were very dramatic and vampy, and they just screamed evil queen to me. I think most of us love the Disney princesses, but for me, really, the villains hold a special place in my heart because I enjoy that fierce, vampy, I don't give a crap kind of attitude that so many of them have. So when I started making 19 teens things, the first thing I did was make this nautical 1914 outfit that was also kind of a mock-up for the evil queen. I used basically the same blouse pattern as in the previous one. The changes that I wanted to make was that even though I really love that high-standing collar and I love that the wire keeps it off of my hair if I have lower hair, and also it really emphasizes that structure. The downside of that is that you can't really lower it, and it can sometimes be kind of annoying under coats. So I wanted to try if I could make this collar stand with just having cotton organdy as the interfacing. That could it also be worn as both a stand collar, and then I could wear it flat when putting a coat on it over it, or just when it's in a situation where it's inconvenient. The pattern for this is the same pattern. Well, the blouse is the same, but I used the skirt from the original pattern that I found from Pinterest. I'll link it down below, and it's also linked in that other video. If you haven't watched that, go ahead and do that. I did change it up a little bit because the description says that this is supposed to be most likely front opening, and that fancy placket that goes over top, that is actually functional. But I decided to make mine non-functional and just put a closure in the back, simply because I had very little of this fabric and I kind of made a mistake with the cutting, and I didn't remember to check. I checked my low hip, but I didn't check my high hip, so it's a teeny bit snug there. So if it was front closure, I would have had to fiddle around with it a lot more, so it was just easier to put the closure in the back. And because there's a tiny bit of stretch in this fabric. The fabric I'm using is a wool. It's a modern thrifted fabric that I found that has that tiny bit of elastic in it so that it actually fits my high hip, even though I made a patterning mistake.
The hem is faced with cotton organdy using the pattern for the skirt as my template. The facing is first stitched to the right side of the garment, and then it's flipped over and stitched at the bottom, leaving a small hem of the fashion fabric on the inside and then at the top bit of the facing. The waistband is made out of a grosgrain ribbon that is stitched onto the inside of the skirt, and then the fashion fabric is flipped over it. The skirt closes at the back with a hook and eye at the top and snaps. bring me her heart in this. Well, here it is. This collar is kind of being a pain. It tends to droop every once in a while when I turn my head in a weird angle or something like that. So I might go ahead and add some wire at some point, but I still haven't figured out how can I do it so that when I do want it down, that it will lay nicely and flat like that. So that is something that I'll still have to experiment with. But for now, it does work like this. It's not too bad. And like, I can move my head, I can move myself, and it doesn't droop. As for my makeup, this is technically accurate for the time, but this would be very much a screen makeup, not something that you would see in real life. I decided to go with quite a lot of rouge, simply because period manuals keep on saying that the mistake most often done by older women who are past their prime, that they add too much rouge in an effort to make themselves look young and end up just looking old and frumpy and showing their age. And since the way I perceive the Evil Queen is that she's a beautiful woman who feels very, very threatened by aging, and that is why she's so very jealous of Snow White, a young, beautiful girl who suppresses her in her beauty. So I chose to use way too much rouge to kind of show that sign of, you know, trying to keep to our youth. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why the Evil Queen speaks more to me than a lot of the Disney princesses, because I'm not exactly 17 anymore. And I'm feeling my age, and I have been kind of self-conscious about my age, especially without glasses on. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done that already. And I'll see you again next time with some other sewing content.